Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dani Damara. Now, I would like to explain about how to describe line charts from in writing text 1. Writing IELTS Tax 1 requires the takers to summarize and analyze visual data presented in form of charts, graphs, tables, diagrams, or maps. This task assesses your ability to interpret information and convey it clearly and accurately in written form. Here's a detailed description of what to consider when writing your response. Number one is understanding the prompt. Carefully analyze the visual data provided. Identify the key features, trends, and patterns. Note any significant changes over time or differences between categories. Number two is structuring your response. A well-organized response typically includes introduction, overview, and details. Number three is language and vocabularies. Utilize a variety of vocabulary and sentence structures to demonstrate your language proficiency. Incorporate terms specific to data description, such as increase, decrease, significant, slightly, approximately, and over time. Number five, Number four is tips for clarity. Use a logical sequence when describing the data. Avoid inserting personal opinions or irrelevant information. Make sure to use linking words and phrases to connect ideas and guide the reader through your analysis. Number five is practice. Familiarize yourself with different types of visual data and practice summarizing them within a limited time frame to enhance your efficiency and accuracy. Number five is time management. Since you have 20 minutes for this task, it is crucial to allocate time wisely for planning, writing, and reviewing your response. By focusing on these elements, you can improve your ability to produce a clear and coherent response that meets the requirements of IELTS Tax 1. Now, let's come to the explanation. IELTS Writing Tax 1 structure. In Writing Tax 1, you will be asked to write a report for a bar chart, line chart, table, pie chart, maps, and diagram. All IELTS Writing Tax 1 have the same structure. Regardless of which task you are given, there are four main paragraphs that you need to use for task 1. Number 1 is introduction paragraph. The first paragraph will be your information and that contains a description of the graphs which shows. IELTS will always given you a description and you can use the information for your introduction, but don't copy it. You need to paraphrase it. We will paraphrase it using synonym, so write it again using your own words. This is your chance to introduce information such as categories, titles, heading, names, dates, and other. Make sure your introduction is complete. It is usually one sentence, but sometimes it can also contain a second sentence about measurement of unit. I will give you example of introduction in line chart that I have given in this slide. The introduction is the line graphs compare the fast food consumptions of teenagers in Australia between 1975 and 2000, a period of 25 years. Number 2 is overview. This paragraph is the most important paragraph in your IELTS writing tax 1 report. This is where you collect all the key features shown in the task and present them together. This paragraph has a direct impact on your best score for tax achievement, which is 25% of your scores. So you have to make good overview on your writing tax 1. I will give you good overview in writing tax 1. Overall, the consumption of fish and chips declined over the period, whereas the amount of pizza and hamburgers that were eaten increased. And the next is body paragraphs. Body paragraphs 1. These paragraphs usually do contain the details. If you tag contents numbers such as a charge, you will need to support your sentences with data. Failing to do what will lower your score for task achievement. You should organize the detail of the task into logical body paragraphs based on the key features. You should also take into consideration what type of task you have. For example, a bar chart shows comparison between two things, such as a man and woman, for different categories, so your aim is to compare men and women within each category. You would then see which categories are most popular and which are least, and then organize categories into body paragraphs. Of course, it may not be about popularity. It might be about which is categories have the biggest difference or the least differences, which is every way you organize the information, it must be logical. I will give you an example of body paragraph once based on the line chart that I have given in this slide. In 1975, the most popular fast food in Australian teenagers was fish and chips, being eaten 100 times a year. This was far higher than pizza and hamburgers, which were consumed approximately 5 times a year. However, apart from a brief rise again from 1980 to 1985, the consumption of fish and chips gradually declined over the 25 years time scale to finish at just under 40. And the next body paragraph 2. In sharp contrast to this, teenagers ate the other two fast foods at much higher levels. Pizza consumption increased gradually until it took over the consumption of fish and chips in 1990. It then levels from of 1885 to 2000. The biggest rise was seen in the hamburgers as the occasions they were eaten increased sharply throughout the 1970s and 1980s, exceeding that of fish and chips in 1985. It finished at the same level that fish and chips began, with consumption at 100 times a year. That's all about line chart. Thank you so much for your attention and see you next time.